The difference between extraordinary and ordinary result is your approach towards that. And then your approach determines your outcome. So you have to choose wisely. So today we're going to talk about what should we approach when we are learning, when we are trying to grow, and we want to achieve something extraordinary in our career. I have Japneet with me, and straight away I'll ask because we want to know about approach. Japneet, people talk about what to do when you want to achieve these, what to do when you want to do that. I want you to guide us on what not to do specifically in such conditions where the job market is very uncertain. When I'm saying uncertain, it's not like there are no jobs, but still there people are struggling to find it. In fact, companies are struggling to find good candidates. So in such
Mhm.
kind of uncertainty, what do you suggest to our testing people what not to be done in this case?
Yeah. So basically, what I've seen till now is that there are a lot of concerns typically related to job finding and concerns related to how you need to approach towards a job. Like, obviously, we get the basic details of JD and all, what keywords we need to enter in our resume, LinkedIn profile, and all. But still, we have something missing over here. But apart from this, I have seen a lot of people discussing about these points. But the problem over here is like you as a candidate, when we are applying to a job, we need not to take that much risk now because the job market is slightly challenging now, and the job opportunities are becoming less. So the number one thing that I would guess and we should implement is that we should not resign without getting a job offer first. Resignation is something that we should plan for now. Okay. Second one is like I have seen people like they don't have a tendency or an habit to read. They don't tend to read the technical documentation. They don't tend to read good blogs. They don't tend to follow good people on LinkedIn or Medium. Okay. So we need to be, as a candidate, we need to be aware about that. At least we are following five good technical people on LinkedIn, five good technical people on Medium. We are bookmarking certain blogs. We are reading it in our free time. We are not watching not Netflix, but instead we are reading some good technical documentation or blogs. So that time should be invested to gain certain skill set. People need to spend time on right things. That is where blogs come in, books come in. So that you need to focus on. Third thing is like people don't maintain good profiles specifically on GitHub. They are not aware about what needs to be built in a repository. I have seen people are pushing code, right? I have seen people pushing code for their code that they are practicing out, but they are not creating README. They are not creating GitHub pages. GitHub page is a free, so to say, hosting that you can do on GitHub. So that you need to create. You need to describe your experience in that. Create an infographic out of it. What framework you have created? Create an infographic. Explain what all things that how the data is flowing. Right, flow should be mentioned in your infographic, or so to say a mind map. And in that mind map you can also explain about what all different test scenarios did you create, what all scenarios are you automating, and what all scenarios you are keeping as a manual test scenario. Why are you keeping it as a manual test scenario? So those things should be implemented in a GitHub repository. Why? Because when a technical recruiter is viewing your profile, they get interested, they spend time on your profile. Fourth point will be like this is something separate from, so to say, technical things that we discuss often. It's about personal finance.
Okay.
People don't predict about financial crisis. They think that they have 3 months of salary, but what if you don't get a job in 3 months?
Yeah.
What if you don't get a job in 6 months? What happens then? How will you support your family? How will you support yourself? Okay. You have certain EMIs going, you have certain whatever things are going on in your life, up considering your financial status, right? So those things should also be planned out. So these are like, I think these are top four things that as a experienced person, like if you're working in IT from past 2 3 years, you should be taking care of.
Fantastic. I mean, yeah, technical part you explained. I definitely like that you should not create your GitHub profile just for the sake of you have created and you have URL to mention there, but you have to maintain it. Content is
Yes.
still key and it's king.
Yeah.
So you are giving importance to that. And I absolutely love the way you explain about finance. If something is important, give it importance. And that's what
Yes.
you have mentioned. I appreciate that. But so Japanese, again, the next problem that people may face is there are a lot of things to learn, right? You talked about these references, you talk about documentation, you talk about things to go in detail about it. how to identify what to learn next. Like I have some skill set, how to identify what to learn next and how to start, and most importantly, how to complete that.
Okay. So first thing that we need to take care of right now is first we need to identify what is our interest. Okay. Example, right now, what my interest is, whenever there is a development problem, there is a testing problem, I am curious. I need to know how it's going to be resolved, how that problem occurred at the first place. I am
Right.
curious to know about it. Okay. So that is where I keep on debugging. Okay. I keep on getting collaborative with my developers, with the other testers. Okay. So I understand the problem and then we try to derive a solution. So that is where you need to stay curious. If there is a problem, try to collaborate and try to discuss with other teammates and try to resolve it. Second thing is, like, obviously in IT, specifically to software engineering, there are a lot of trends keep up and going. Okay.
Mm.
So some time back there was a trend for playwright. Okay. Nowadays there is AI, specifically generative AI, right? So we need to be aware about the trends, and if you're interested, keep on learning it. Okay.
That's great. I think the awareness part which you have mentioned, it's really
Yes,
important.
yes.
So you during your conversation also you mentioned about it, and I've been following you on LinkedIn. I've seen you are so much into this coding part, like you said, Gen AI now. I've seen you write every topic and content of it so detailed. So my a layman question to you, maybe somebody would have asked, or maybe I am asking, if you know so much coding, why you're not in development? Why you are in testing and still in testing?
Okay, so this is a little interesting question, and I have been getting it from past like 2 3 years now. So what specifically happens is, like, when you are into test automation, right? Uh, for me specifically, I don't consider that I will ever get into development. Now the question is why? Why will I never get into development? Because I like my job. What I am doing, I like it. Now, why do I like it? Because whatever things that I am doing day to day, I can say that I am into development only because I am working on principles that are solid principles. I am creating framework based on OOPS. Okay. I am coding every day. Either I'm using Java, I'm using Python, I'm using JavaScript. Okay. I know all these three languages. So I can code in any of one of the language if required. Okay. I'm also aware about different tools such as JMeter, GetLink. Okay. Postman tool is there, Swagger is there. Okay. I can also create APIs because I'm mocking when I can mock an API, right? I can also create it when required. Okay. You should have the right skill, build the right skill set, right? Get aware about DevOps, get aware about AWS, right? Get aware about Gen AI.
Yeah.
They are also using the same tools only, right? One more question that I frequently get: what is the salary? Like, developers usually get more salary than testers. It's not like that. I can clearly state right now that there are a lot of developers in my team from whom I am earning more. Okay. It can be easily said, but
Yeah,
we are not going to compare ourselves with them. Okay.
right.
It depends upon you. Entirely depends upon your skill set and your curiosity.
That's perfect. Very candid answer. I mean, yeah, you're right. If you like what you're doing, if you're satisfied, and if you want to grow, titles and these categories of development and testing are just mere, words. I completely agree. I really like the way you mentioned. I also believe that it's not about salary between developer and tester. Testers are CEO of the companies.
Right.
That's great. So, Japneet, because it's a short cast, I want to ask you another question, which is really important for my audience to know. You mentioned about a lot of references. You also give a lot of reference when you talk about. Can you help me and my audience with 4 reference tips that people should follow? So, 4 tips or reference or material that people should follow, and they will experience more growth with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, obviously, when we need to, as a like technical person, we need to be aware about trending skills. That is the number one thing. Okay. We need to be aware about it. Second thing that you can keep on learning is that what is your interest. Okay. Now there is lot of requirement for JavaScript in upcoming days. Second is obviously Gen AI. How do you use it? How can you make use of Gen AI to reduce your number of hours that you're spending? Third is obviously cloud,
Yeah.
AWS preferably. Get aware about cloud development or uses of it. Preferably start with AWS. What is EC2 instance? Okay. How do you create a virtual environment when your framework is executing. Okay. And when it can go down. Then fourth is containerization. Containerization specifically, you should learn about Docker. So these four things are like the top four picks that I'll think of as of now. So this is what you can start with and keep on learning. Just create a roadmap out of it.
Really important. First of all, to know what will help, and then to know how to utilize to the best potential of what you are learning will be the key in this game. Perfect. So, Japneet, any last advice to the audience from your side? Because you have been talking about so much technical stuff, and also you talked about important aspect towards that technical part. So I don't know if it is easy for you to mention any kind of bottom line for this kind of episode, but I really want to uh, hear people from your side. What is the important point, the important thing to be remember and to focus always on?
So people are not aware about their shortcomings. They need to be aware about their shortcomings and how they can improve it. So that is the primary thing I think people don't do. Use pen and paper, write it down, and then you will keep on remembering.
Wow. That's pretty simple but most effective. It is amazing to discuss with you. Thank you for your time, Japneet. Thank you so much for your wisdom for my audience. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Bye. Take care.